Okay, we are live.
Okay, just want to welcome everyone to the remote teleconference city council meeting at 5:30 on Wednesday, June 3rd. Does everyone have an agenda? Yes, looks like it.
Yes,
Councilman Ray, do you have your agenda?
I do.
Okay, we will go through under communications, item number 1,
Receive and file.
number 2,
Receive and file.
number 3.
Receive and file.
Under public comments, there aren't any public comments, but we invite the public to email their public comments to the clerk of council's email address at vmarrow, MARROW, at youngstownohio.gov. We ask that you do that no later than noon on the day of each council meeting so that your public comments can be included in the record. Under ordinances, Councilman Ray, number 1.
Suspended consent.
2,
Suspended consent.
3,
Suspended consent.
4,
Suspended consent.
5,
Off agenda.
6,
Suspended consent.
7,
Suspended consent.
8,
Suspended consent.
9,
Suspended consent.
number 10,
Suspended consent.
11,
Suspended consent.
12,
Suspended consent.
13,
Suspended consent.
14,
Suspended consent.
15,
Suspended consent.
item number 16,
16, I did, we were talking about, are we going to amend it or vote it down and redo it? What was the,
I think that's a yes vote to defeat.
okay. We'll do a yes vote to defeat on that.
And then number 17,
I think we were okay with that. We could suspend the consent, or did we,
I think Lauren wanted a separate vote on that. Is that correct, Councilwoman McNally?
or,
Yeah, I just wanted to see if, when the time came, if the law department did have my answers that I asked for from Monday's meeting. If not, then yes, I would need a separate vote because I don't know.
everyone fine with the second reading? And then we can get those answers. And if we don't get the answers, would you entertain a second reading, Lauren?
Second reading is fine.
Okay. All right, we'll do a second. Unless the law department has an answer now.
Is I think we'll just put it in second reading. You guys can discuss that at a later time.
Sounds good, thank you.
Yeah, so let's just go back through from the top under communications, number 1.
Receive and file.
All right, whoever's, Rick, can you please mute everyone except council, please? Thank you.
That might have been mine, I think. I could have been a,
Okay, well, let's go back through from the top under communications without the period. Number 1,
receive and file.
number 2,
Receive and file.
number 3.
Receive and file.
All right, again, under public comments, we're asking all the public to email their comments to vmerrill@youngstownohio.gov no later than noon on the day of the council meetings. Under ordinances, item number 1,
Suspended consent.
2,
Suspended consent.
3,
Suspended consent.
4,
Suspended consent.
5,
Off agenda.
6,
Suspended consent.
7,
Suspended consent.
8,
Suspend the consent.
9,
Suspend the consent.
10,
Suspend the consent.
11,
Suspend the consent.
12,
Suspend the consent.
13,
Suspend the consent.
14,
Suspend the consent.
15,
Suspend the consent.
16,
Yes vote to defeat.
17.
Separate read or second reading.
Okay. All right. All right. Are you ready to go into the meeting?
I believe so.
All right. I'm hitting the gap. 5:36. This meeting of Youngstown City Council on Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020 is now called to order. Clerk, call the roll. I think you're on mute.
Adamsat,
Here.
Davis,
Here.
Hughes, Jimmy Hughes,
Here.
McNally,
Here.
Oliver,
Here.
Ray,
Here.
Turner,
Here.
Kitchen.
Here. Councilman Ray, is there a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes for the meeting on May 20th, 2020 and approve the journal?
Mr. President, I make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes and approve the journal for the last meeting that was held on May 20th, 2020.
Second.
Motion carries. Under communications, item number 1, Councilman Ray.
Mr. President, I move that under communications, item 1 through 3 be received and filed.
Second.
Motion carries. Again, there were no public comments, but we want to forward all public comments to vmerrill@youngstownohio.gov. Under ordinances, item number 1.
Authorizing the Board of Control of the City of Youngstown to enter into all necessary agreements in a memorandum of understanding to purchase sodium chloride for ice control for calendar years 2020 and 2021.
Councilman Ray.
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance items 1 through 4 and 6 through 15 before council for passage pursuant to the
Second.
Roll call on the suspension.
Adamsat,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McNally,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
and Turner.
Yes.
7 yeas for the suspension.
Rules of council have been suspended. Are there any further remarks? Roll call on the passage.
Adamsat,
Yes.
Davis, Councilman Davis,
We may have lost her.
Can you hear me?
President.
do we have a vote from Councilperson Davis?
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McNally,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
7 yeas for the passage.
Ordinances 1 through 4 and 6 through 15 have all been passed. Under ordinances, number 5. Councilman Ray.
Number 5 is off the agenda.
Ordinance number 5 is off the agenda. Under ordinances, number 16.
Amending section 1 of ordinance 19-47 passed by Youngstown City Council on March 20th, 2019, which established the master salary ordinance for the city of Youngstown. The amendment being to change positions, analyst programmer to water operations coordinator, and computer specialist 1 to water operations specialist.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules of council and place ordinance number 16 before council with a yes vote to defeat.
is there a second?
Oh, second.
Roll call on the suspension.
Adamzat,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McNally,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
7 yeas for the suspension.
The rules of council have been suspended. Are there any other remarks? Roll call on the passage with a yes vote to defeat.
Adamzat,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
McNally,
Yes.
Oliver,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Turner.
Yes.
7 yeas to defeat.
Ordinance number 16 has been defeated. Under ordinance number 17,
To revise the Youngstown codified ordinances by adopting current replacement pages.
Councilman Ray,
Mr. President, move that this item number 17 go to a second reading.
Second.
okay. Item number 17 has been placed in second reading. That concludes our agenda, ladies and gentlemen. Councilman Oliver, in the first ward, do you have any remarks?
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. First, I wanted to say, I emailed everybody, well, Valencia emailed everybody a copy of our racism being considered a public health crisis. So I just wanted to get everybody to get a chance to review that legislation, see if there's anything that needed to be added to it specific to Youngstown or taken away, acknowledging that racism leads to disparities in the Black and brown minority communities, and just doing everything to fix those disparities so that people can have a chance to live longer lives and have a better sense of equality when it comes to quality of life issues, health, jobs, police genocide, and such. So feel free to look over that piece of legislation, that resolution. And I've spoken to Councilwoman Adamzak, Councilwoman Turner. So I know they may have some input, but anybody else feel free. We have support from the regional chamber. We'll be writing letters, as well as other entities in the city to support this piece of legislation for the city of Youngstown. That's pretty much on that. I do want to say something specific to all of my colleagues, just in the sense of professional courtesy. Whenever it is that each of us receive different types of communication throughout the city from multiple different wards dealing with the city, I just ask that we all have professional courtesy enough that when an issue or a project or anything comes up in somebody else's ward, that we would have a professional courtesy enough to contact that council person of that ward, that representative, and let them know, hey, this is what's going on in your ward. Just wanted you to be aware of it. Just wanted you to work with me on this or whatever, because I think that's just a respect factor between us that we should have. And that's all I want to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Oliver. Second ward, Councilman Hughes, would you have any remarks?
Just want to wish everyone that, advise everyone, stay safe. Time seems to be changing on us. Just want to request, put that out there.
Thank you, Councilman. Third ward, Councilwoman Turner.
Thank you, President. So in regards to ordinance number 6, we've passed it because Resnick has done the work and they need to be paid. But as a city, as a legislative body, as executive body, we have to do better in preparing our future. The information Chuck sent out to us yesterday showed the work orders for Susan Circle, and there's 37 instances over the last 16 years of emergencies in repairing this sewer line. The last time it was, when it was just an inspection, was in 2009. And we're not doing our due diligence. We know what we're up against with these sewer systems. We know that this is going to be a large elephant, but if we don't begin to take small bites, lay it out, and move at it at a good pace, we will continue to incur these costs, and it'll continue to chip away at all of our dollars. So I just really just request that the administration and Public Works get together and begin to formulate a plan to really tackle the issues with our sewer lines. And this one is a perfect one to start at, because like I said, I count 37 emergency instances and this one line. And just imagine if when we got to 3 or 4, we laid out a plan where we could possibly be in ensuring that we are not costing the city so many dollars. So that's what I want to say in regards to that. And then I just want to say, this past Sunday, I was very proud to walk with the young people in the downtown of Youngstown, and to hear all of the leaders speak out for the injustice of my people. And I really am very happy. I love the energy that's happening. I love the activation of the youth, and I would love to keep that going. So if there is anything that you need or more help, please let me know. We're working so many different angles, but we have to keep working as a unit, as a group, to get things done. And if you see injustice, speak to it and speak out about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Turner. 4th Ward, Councilwoman McNally. I mean, I'm sorry, Councilman Ray. I'm looking at you in the order of my screen. Councilman Ray.
All right, thank you. Councilman Oliver just did receive that resolution information prior to the meeting. We'll review that. If, I think that's something of this nature warrants, if we need to have a special meeting, we get it in place, we should consider doing that, especially if we're able to meet like this. We can be a lot easier virtually. So, and again, the sentiments of the city, I think a lot of things went well on Sunday, and that was, thanks to all the city for keeping things together. So thank you. And everyone stay safe out there.
Thank you. 5th Ward, Councilwoman McNally.
Just to Councilman Oliver, I've also been looking at some of the other cities' resolutions that are similar, and actually tossed around the idea with Councilwoman Davis about forming a special committee of council, and perhaps it's a committee of the whole, to put some real action items in the resolution that we can tackle as council, and add that language into the resolution. So I will talk to you about that offline, and we can make some of that if you think that fits. Second option, or second thing I wanted to mention was also I wanted to, based off of Kyle Mizek's some statements he made on Monday regarding our COVID-19 funding still being up in the air. I was wondering if there was opportunity for council to draft and sign a letter to our state and federal representatives and petitioning them for the money that they haven't decided to give us yet, and outlining exactly what it is that we need and why we need it. And perhaps that, coupled with what the mayor is doing in the communications he's sending, might help, might be an extra push. So if you guys are willing to sign a letter together, I'd be happy to put something together.
I would say definitely draft that. It wouldn't hurt to send something to our state and federal legislators. So absolutely, I'm sure council would be more than willing to sign off on something like that. Thank you. 6th Ward, Councilwoman Davis. Did we lose Councilwoman Davis? Okay, 7th Ward, Councilwoman Adams-Act.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to, I I guess one of my biggest priorities right now is also to make sure that we inform our residents of how we are facing a budgetary crisis, not only based on COVID and the impact that it has, but also with the amount of income tax revenue we are missing because of the situation Valorec is in. And there's just a lot of questions that residents have been asking me, just a lot of misconceptions out there. And I think we need to put out that information to the public to let them know truly what's going on and how it's going to impact the city short term and long term.
Okay, thank you very much. I believe our Water Commissioner, Harry Johnson, is on with us as well, and he wanted to address council briefly. Harry, are you, okay, you have the floor. Yeah, you have the floor.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Now, I just wanted to let council know real quick that in accordance with the meeting we had in early March with the financial consultant to reverse the $10 that is going to the sanitation, reversing it back to the water department, I was planning to have that legislation up for council during your next meeting for your consideration. So I wanted to let council know that that was forthcoming. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Which leads me to our next city council meeting will be Wednesday, June 17th at 5:30 p.m. So everyone wants to mark their calendars. Wednesday, June 17th, 5:30 p.m. That will be the last regular meeting for this before our summer recess begins, and our summer sessions will be announced at a later date. So mark your calendars for Wednesday, June 17th at 5:30. Councilwoman Davis, is that you? Yes.
Hello, I'm back.
Okay.
Poltergeist got to me. My apologies, but I did want to say to the community that this is June and it is normally LGBT Pride Month. And I want to say hello and wish to all my friends, family, and allies that even though we're not there in person in downtown Youngstown for the festival, that we still remember that the true meaning of the Pride Festival is not a party, it's a purpose, and that's to recognize the contributions of the LGBT community to the greater history of our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Davis. Again, that concludes our agenda. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
This meeting has been adjourned at 5:53 p.m. Thank you very much. You may leave the meeting.